Right. Sure.
I just want to check that. And got the right video.
Have you got the older style one?
That one.
Oh no, I don't have that one. I do have one of those at home. Which no, it's the mini I've got.
Somebody's got one there that fits mine.
The pictures, cool.
No, that's what I just suddenly thought. I better just check that we put Chris's plates with reservation on here.
Okay.
And it works, but I suddenly thought I better just check.
Okay, I can stick it on there if we need it to as well.
I think it should work off this
cool.
one.
Have you got the right? You definitely got the right. Oh yeah, no, yeah, it's that one there, isn't it? That looks about right.
Yeah, well, there's a
Are you
this fits it, so.
It does fit it.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you double checked that? Just actually plug it in. It looks bigger than the one what I'd expect. You're in. Okay, you're good then. Yeah, because it's not more than 5 years old. That is it. It's not.
No. It's probably just about 5 years.
Because my 2000, yeah, that would fit my 2000 MacBook. I think it was like 98, 99 that they. Not 98, 2009.
Yeah.
8 or 9 that they switched to the. But you doing first? Are you going first? You next, Tim?
Yeah, we have a few select open street match that is marvellous because they're going free by these ones. Now, Tim, of course, is sporting our new this year's model selection shirt. So you need to ask him about these, but there are a couple of these t-shirts available. If you want them, they're on the desk. And also on Sunday, we've got the introduction to OpenStreetMap, which is going to be held in Skyscanner, just along the road from your Skyscanner Limited, which is really nice. Like that, and it's free juice. But if you're interested, let people know who are brand new to OpenStreetMap or doing a workshop, just getting them started at the beginning. If it's a t-shirt, if you want a t-shirt, then it'll be outside. Thank you. Work two. Okay, thanks, Bob. Login.
Should have checked during the break.
Yeah. Actually, for me, still my login machine.
Do you need to get on?
Yeah.
I'm on Wi-Fi, so.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to load up the website.
Just loading websites you'll find news.
Yeah, okay, I just need to get that address up. Yeah. So, in the next session, I've got some late arrivals there. That's great. We were going to start the lightning talks, which seems perfect timing, to be honest. Well, that's almost bang on time. So, I was going to give a lightning talk, 5 minutes, and we've got one other lightning talk, and we've also just got a general kind of opening up to a bit of questions. If anyone else has got a burning issue they'd like to kind of ask a question about, or trying to get some feedback on, or if maybe they're just like a short little quick thing they want to sort of shout out. So we've got just sort of about a quarter of an hour to sort of blast through a few lightning talks now. Do you think you're ready?
Yeah, it's all
good. You sure? Okay,
right on time.
It's like, yeah, we'll do this. Yeah. That's amazing. Well, so
discount?
Yeah, I'm just actually.
Thanks so much.
That's fine, fine. So, so we've got, yeah, this is, this is, I don't think we've been following this. This box has slowly been making its way over here during the last couple of days, and this is OSM in a box, both literally and figuratively. So, yeah, I'll let you get started.
Hi guys. So I wasn't expecting to get so fast here on stage. My name is Roy Cortolai. Very nice to meet you guys. We got our flight late and stuff. Just so you know, this is kind of my first talk, so I apologize. I hope I don't make a fool of myself. But I guess we should just like head to the chase. I've heard about this talk from a geohacker. It was in the State of the Map US in June. And he said, what most people want is this, some data, a tile server, just to serve some beautiful maps. OpenStreetMap is like one of the biggest world databases. I mean, what you guys have created in over 10 years, it's $1 billion company right up, beautiful people just like contributing to this. It's a vacuum that has been created right next to Wikipedia, and so such big successes. But all of this data, it would just be meaningless if it wasn't used. So today, when a third party wants to switch to OSM, here's what we tell him. Good luck. Reality looks tough. It is. It's actually really tough. There's documentation everywhere. It's spread among the internet. The stack is gigantic. It's inconsistent. There's version issues. I mean, you guys, above all, would know. So usually it ends up like that. You know what? I'd rather pay lots of money to any big map providers. And it's a bummer, because the OpenStreetMap data is underused. We could do so much better to reach its potential of usage. So this is the dream, right? Just to be able to install OpenStreetMap right out of the box, whatever box that is. And there's been some tools in the past few years. Well, you guys own packages. Why don't we do such a package? Well, there's lots of distributions, lots of versions, and it's not modular enough. VMs, well, we could do that as well, and it's been done in the past, but there's too many vendors, it's not really flexible. I quoted some names, VMware, whatever. You guys all know about Chef, Recipes, Puppet, and Ansible, so those configuration management tools seem like a nice alternative. And then we got containers. So, like, if you got questions, we can talk about containers after, but just so you know, I will be very wrong saying this, but it's like the perfect lightweight virtual machine. It's process isolation, sandboxing, and scripting those images. So it's really a melt between configuration management and VMs. So it sounds like a good alternative. And we've done this. We've done it. So we got a nice demo. It's called the Lego Box demo. Just hold on a second because I don't have the right slides. Here it is. And let me show you the video. No. Here it is. So it looks like this. Basically, you just choose your zone, your region. So here we're in Edinburgh, right? So I choose this area. Those are basically the bounds, and you can choose the zoom levels you will want in your tile server on the right. Then which levels you want to pre-render. And this is my favorite part. Do you think every single person who wants a map does want to know that tunnels have to be under primary roads at zoom 16? or that you want to show houses at Zoom 17, I think we could make their life easier. Just finding a beautiful scene and allowing them to choose what they want, which is colors that match my company, colors that match my vision. And it's easy styling and then choosing a few fonts, and that's it. And in just a matter of seconds, that's easy configuration, because we got to make choices at one point. And you push a button, and it generates. And a few minutes after, you just got your nice working map with all those beautiful widgets that we've made. It's all open source. It's been launched last week. So this is my 60 seconds to set up a full test server on our Lego box. So the demo will plug it in later if you guys want to try, have fun with it. But we also unleash the service. You can launch your own tab server on any Amazon AWS instance. Basically, you just input your account credentials. You just push the same buttons that I just did, and you will launch your own. Just so you know, it takes time because you need to render, you need to import the OSM2BG SQL database and stuff. So I will start by a small area, but the concept is working. The widgets, the beautiful widgets you saw, we just open sourced them last week because we think having tiles is interesting, but we should go directly closer to what the customer wants. Displaying points on a map, displaying his stores, displaying his any points of interest, areas, things he would want, and we'll make this for you. Also, because I'm a nerd, I like stressing my infrastructures because I had no idea what my tile server could hold. So we've made stress test scenarios so that you can now, at last, say my server can handle 60 requests per second or whatever. Thank you for your attention. So I don't know if you have time for questions.
Yeah. Well,
we can talk around the beer or whatever.
Yeah, maybe a couple of questions. Sure. Oh.
So it's 2015. Why are we still serving rasterized tiles rather than vector on the tile?
Well, what's really cool is that, on the roadmap, we want to put the stack, and obviously I'll put mostly vector tiles and things like this. And to answer your question, I think, if you follow the talks at the State of the Map US, the OpenGL and WebGL libraries consuming MPT are coming up, and I guess it's going to be soon enough. Mapbox.gl has really improved over the past few months, and I think it's going to be production ready. Let's call it definite, cross your fingers, hopefully. But then we've got to learn styling again, right?
Yes, I think we should forget. Do you use SotM for the Android OSM? I see. That then does understand. And I think it does it without having to use WebGL. No, that's right. It then on how those modern things. And actually, it works extremely well. I even thought that. In fact, I've got it in my tablet here, but I'm sure. But I think given that the tablet is a Galaxy Tab 2, it's fairly accurate on the case model. For some members of the general public, rather than include that might actually look a little funky. Doesn't matter to me, but you see the rendering happening, and I think for some people who were not used to. So they should be fixing that problem. Well, but in the end, always going to improve that.
Sure. Thanks. I'm just going to give a quick demo now as well.
Go ahead. Thank you, everyone.
Oh, all right. We'll come back to that demo later, I think. Now, so I think slight technical problem with that demo. So if we got Dr. Nicole Ringa, and yeah, we're going to see the map while we drive app. So, another institutional speaker. So yeah.
Not quite right.
Yeah, it wasn't extending desktop, not mirroring.
So, hello everybody. My name is Nicole Beringer. I'm from Electrical Automotive from Germany. And I will talk about Urigo map while you drive. So, I will give you a short introduction about the purpose of Urigo, then show you how Urigo works, and then it's up to you to go and get it. Before I start, I would shortly give you an introduction to our company, because you may not have heard about Electrobit. We are a software supplier for the automotive industry, and we're doing every kind of software like ABAC ECUs or infotainment systems. And we're also deeply into navigation systems for over 12 years right now. And that's where we thought, okay, we have a navigation SDK, and a lot of our colleagues, they are very active in the SotM community. And we thought, why not bring this together and do a navigation app for Android, and with help for mapping, and bring it back to the community. So that was the birth of the Urigo. So if you go to Google Play or just scan the QR code up there, you are able to get our Urigo Android app, and you then can download the maps for Europe. The maps are compiled for our navigation system, but are based on the SotM. So every month we do an update with the most recent SotM maps for Europe. And then you're able, while you're in Europe, to use the navigation system offline. So you don't need to download your tiles for navigating to Europe. And with the navigation system, you can also map while you drive. Something which comes without doing anything is if you have activated the traffic sign recognition, you will get the speed limits recognized, and also together with the corresponding images at the location you are passing by. Then we have two other possibilities for mapping. So imagine you're on a motorway and there's a new exit. You're driving, so you don't have the possibility to just make a note and write it down with the geolocation. But with Urigo, you just put on a voice memo button and say, there's a new exit, and then you have it together with the geolocation, or you just press the photo icon, and then you have also the photo, and then when you're back, you can remember where it was and map it accordingly. So this is the app, and this looks like this. Classical navigation system with different possibilities to enter the destination, so by address, by recent destination, or perhaps interest. then it comes to switch on traffic sign recognition. And be aware that when you use traffic sign recognition, put it like this on in your car, so that you are able to just a bit slow when I move the sound. And then with this, you can just enter routing. And I just show you a simulation when you're planning your route. You can also try and find out where you are and which way to go. And then when you pass a traffic sign and you get recognition here, you can navigate to your destination. When you want to calibrate your traffic sign recognition, just go to the preview in order to fix it accordingly to the to your car, and then you can fly. But it's not only driving, but it's also pedestrian routing or pedestrian or bicycle routing, and then you can also go for hike also. And when you're back home, you made a tour, drove around, saw a lot of extra things you would like to know. Then just when you're back home, go to www.ebdrigo.com. You get a web portal there, and you log in with your credentials from the mobile app. And then you are in your own environment. So with your user login, you see your track, you see whatever you collected, and then you can map afterwards. So there's 3 different possibilities to do that. Either using the Electrobit web portal, which looks like this. And if you want to map, for example, the track signs and verify them, start a video. So you click on the recognized value, you see the picture which was taken exactly at the point where the recognition recognized something. You can verify it and save it and then confirm it and bring it to the OSM. Here, for example, there is a picture taken in order to make a memo for yourself. And if you press this button over there to open this in the ID editor, you can do whatever you know within the ID editor. Again, it opens always in the wrong part. Yeah. And as well, for example, when the traffic signs should appear in here they are. With the question mark in front of and then it's open the traffic sign, then you get the recognized value. Over here. And the picture, accept that this was correct, as well as share it with the community. It was telling me it's still running for 1 hour, so it was a fast 1 hour.
Yes, that's fine. That's
Stuff it just there.
yeah, I've got a wing.
I was looking for that.
There might be one on the left hand as well.
Oh, comes with it.
This was a press.
Yeah. I think everyone's pretty impressed with that. That's a phone demo there.
That's
I think that's the best demo we've had so far.
Yes, it's working really well.
Back to life 1 hour later. So we just mapped our stuff in the ID editor with your girlfriend or wife or friend. They love the Jordan editor, and so they wanted to map it in the Jordan. So it's a little bit different with the ID editor. And again, opening the window. So go to the plugins here. Get the Rigo plugin, and it's the same. You log in to the Rigo layer in the JSON with your personal user credentials. Then you see your tracks, you see all the selected stuff you have, and then you can map as you're used to map with the JSON and verify the speed limit again, for example, same situation, showing a picture down there. You can check for your voice memos or your photo memos. And once you're done, your final that you want to share with the community, and just go and share it under your user ID, your SotM user ID, and then it's in your app. This is the traffic plan definition use case. But there are also other use cases. Imagine your partner is not that mapping affine, but likes hiking or going for a city tour and likes to have a look afterwards where you've been and what pictures you took during your sightseeing tour. And it's also a nice use case. You have your tracks, you can see where you were, you can see your photos at the position you have taken this. Yeah, not a SotM use case, but maybe something to also make other people like SotM and go and get it as well. And yeah, go and get it also for your wedding. This is our colleague. He's doing the unit coordination, and 4 days before we launched, she had her wedding. Unfortunately, the driver didn't know how to go to the town hall, but fortunately, she had her mobile phone with her, with the Android installed and with the Rigo installed, so they made it to their wedding, and now they're a happy couple. Yeah. Well. And I would like to show you another colleague in another situation. So our company is very happy when we can also support humanitarian societies, and one of our colleagues, Marek, was there in Nepal shortly before the earthquake, because for Christmas last year, Electrobit, the people working at Electrobit decided to donate 2 drones in order to being able to map Nepal for the critical regions. And what we didn't know at the time was that there was this earthquake just one month after Marek went there, and we were able to really help there. We also are in contact with the Red Cross, helping them in Mali to map their hospitals, for example. So if you are in the humanitarian sector, and just let us know if we can help there as well. We would be happy to do it so. Yeah, so that's my presentation. But last but not least, it's your turn to try it out. Just scan the QR code or go to Google Play and get the app. Try it out, give us feedback. We have help.electrobit.com, where we immediately return to your questions, to your suggestions, and we would be very happy if you could contribute and give us some feedback on that. That's it. Thanks, and sorry for the power delay. If there are any questions.
The format for the slides and the attachment, geolocated attachment about points and so on, is that an open format, or does it have to be used within the individual layer of JSON?
We decided to have it within the individual layer of JSON in order to make you the decision to share with the community or not. So this was the purpose of having this layer, and not just to directly send it to WhatsApp.
Right, and the data format, is that open, or is that usable? Would it be usable by others?
The data format, the plugin, this is the open source format. If you go to www.epidemiology.com, so in the web portal we have also the list of all open source available.
And yeah, I think it's really tough, and I'm really liking music for walking and hiking. In Aberdeenshire, we've got loads of on-map English and symbols and trails, which is really good. I just had a question in terms of the photos as well. I think I just don't know, but this image is something that is being uploaded currently to OpenStreetMap as well, other than just the data.
No, you have it in your layer, and you're working in your layer, and you're the responsible in order to bring it to OSM. So you would not simply upload the personal picture to OSM.
But is it stored actually on the OSM as well?
This is not stored on OSM, but on our server. So exactly for this reason, not to spam it in your app. Yes?
What are the websites and your online in the future after speed limits?
We are currently recognizing the speed limits in Europe. So what you saw, the red ones, there we don't support, for example, Sweden or Finland. They have these yellow speed limits, so we don't support it yet, and also not the US, of course.
People also look at turn restrictions, no right turn.
This is not included yet.
I was also interested about the animal one side as well.
Not yet. We don't have that much animal warnings in Germany, so could be different in the Highlands. I don't know. Huh? With this app, not.
But in principle, these are all things that should be easy to recognize.
Yeah, it's simply another algorithm. So we just included the speed signs for a moment because these are also the critical information which brings you or which is needed in the maps in order to make a good navigation system, so we concentrated on speed limits here. And other science are following, of course. First one should try out how you like it and how you get along with it or not.
Do you do the restriction sign black diagonal?
You mean the end of the speed limit? Yes.
And the German place name with a red line through. You do that.
No, just for the recognition, just the speed limits with the end of speed limit. For everything which is already in the map is also displayed. So our algorithm also validates if the speed limit is feasible at that position. So when you are on a motorway and you have a speed limit 20, and this may not be reasonable, so this is plausibilized and it's not valid, then it's definitely not displayed. Of course, if you have a construction works on a motorway, it could happen that you have a very low speed limit. And it's also then to decide if the recognition accuracy is quite high and the map information that this is not possible because my street class is motorway, and then there's also the algorithm telling, okay, in this sense we have quite high accuracy, we'll go for the recognized value and not for the map value.
The mapper needs to decide if it's a temporary roadwork speed limit if you don't map. The mapper needs to decide when you're in JSM to, if it's a temporary limit, then ignore it, don't map it.
Where do you source geocoding and addressing? The addressing engine.
This is our NAV SDK, so our own navigation system we used in order to try out first for the apps and second for using OSM. So this is our own navigation SDK currently.
Yeah, thanks very much. That was really great.
Speeds on faster than certainly we can keep up with in NLS, and I feel more and more like a fish out of water. And I hope what I have to show you here is of interest. It's certainly considerably less fancy and cutting edge than most of the talks you've heard this morning. Right, thanks. And as this was billed as a developer day, I thought what I would do after showing you a few slides to kind of ease you into your chairs and set the general scene would be to really focus on our website, the Map Images website, where we make available now 120,000 high-resolution images of historical maps, and look particularly underneath that at the components that we're using. And we're always very keen for advice and conversation, discussion with other things that we could be using. We move substantially towards using open source technology where we can. We've also had a long and happy association with the OpenStreetMap community, and I'll mention a few examples of collaboration. And also our Historic Maps API, which has been available for a few years, which we've recently incorporated and enhanced with a subscription-based API. For those of you who signed up, there's also a group visit this afternoon to the map library, and I'll just mention that as well. So, we're very much focused on historical mapping. NLS has over 700 years of historical maps, and things begin, we like to say, very much for Scotland, about 400 years ago with very detailed manuscript maps by Timothy Pond. And these were used to form the first atlas of Scotland, brought out in the mid-17th century in Amsterdam, 47 regional maps of Scotland. At the same time, some of the towns in Scotland were seeing detailed representations. Aberdeen, Edinburgh, Glasgow and Dundee all have maps dating back over 400 years. We find an important phase of military map making in the first half of the 18th century, particularly due to the threatened reality of Jacobite rebellions in Scotland. And we find thereafter a growing range of maps made for all sorts of purposes, for things like landscape improvement, estate management. We also find many of the land surveyors and those who funded them were interested in regional maps at smaller scales, often called county maps, in the second half of the 18th century into the early 19th century. An Ordnance Survey, who we know very well, of course, they arrived quite late on the scene in terms of our long chronology of mapping, very much beginning work in Scotland in the 1840s. But, of course, with Ordnance Survey maps, revising their maps regularly, right up through to the present day. And in terms of our 120,000 maps, well over 80% would be Ordnance Survey maps. They form very much the bulk of our collection, and they are of greatest interest, I think, to people for a wide range of purposes. But they're not the only maps that we have. Although the National Library of Scotland is quite a big institution, 300 people, the map library where I work is much, much smaller. And in fact, there's really only 3 of us who were focusing on digital mapping and the website. I feel it's important to give that context. Many people here may be in institutions with teams of developers and teams of people who are marketing and acquiring stuff. And we're very much a cottage industry trying to do the best we can. And the funding within NLS for digital mapping, unfortunately, has steadily gone down over the years. So virtually everything that we do now in terms of scanning, georeferencing, putting things online, is all through external funding. And that explains particularly why a lot of our work in the last couple of years has been south of the border, has been of mapping of England and Wales. Our paper collection is a vast one. We're one of the 10 largest map libraries in the world in terms of physical volume. And with our online presence now, that's about 7% of our total. And I look at that as being very much a challenge of what we still would like to do, given funding and time. A few statistics there in terms of usage of our website, obviously steadily rising over time, and also in terms of orders for things like images and printouts that I'll mention a little later on. For those of you who've not used our website, I feel it's necessary in order to understand the components, just to show a few screen grabs of how it all works in reality. And I'll show particularly what we call our Find by Place viewer, which is our main geographic way of finding everything, and also show briefly our 2 main georeference viewers as well. I've recently returned from a trip to Shetland. It was very nice to open an exhibition of maps that we've just loaned to Shetland Archives and Museums. So these screen grabs assume we're focusing in on Lerwick. And we begin with a standard Bing background map, and if we just zoom in on where we're interested in, we can zoom on in on Lerwick. When we click on the map itself, it does a web feature service request to GeoServer and returns effectively a small record and a thumbnail image of the map that we clicked on. All of our viewers are based on OpenLayers, of OpenLayers 3 from earlier this year. Thereafter, assuming we want to view the map, we then click on the thumbnail to the right-hand side. This opens a JPEG 2000 image. This is a zoomable image which is delivered by IIP Image Server, which is open source, really good fast delivery mechanism for zoomable images, and through a similar OpenLayers interface. And this allows us to zoom on in very quickly. This is not a georeferenced image in this case, just a picture, but we can zoom on in, view the detail of the map, pan around, do various other things like print PDFs and so on, rotation, mainly all the standard things that people would need to do. And assuming then we want to go back to look at other maps over time, this is where the drop-down lists on this side come into play. We can choose other different layers and dates of mapping. Choose, say, the later date, 1890s to 1960s. This delivers another layer from GeoServer. When we click on that, it produces the later dates of mapping and so on. And of course, we can do this for any layer of mapping. It just involves drawing the polygons or capturing them from various sources. We can look at historical maps with different boundaries and things like admiralty charts and coastal charts as well. Just to show a few other things about the website as well, if I clicked on this particular chart here, for a lot of our early maps, it doesn't go straight to a viewer. It goes to what we call a record page that brings up some blurb from a database. And then assuming you click on the image, it will then display the image inside the IIP image viewer. And if you've seen as well, we also have links through to view georeference maps. And this is another way into what we call our Explore Georeference Maps viewer. Now this again, as a viewer, uses open layers, and it brings up georeference mapping that we create using MapSider, just as a way of allowing fast web delivery. We can zoom in and out very easily, change the background map, and so on. And the most important thing is the ability to dynamically change the transparency. It's using the standard sort of open layers bootstrap slider that came with Open Layers 3 as an example. And a related viewer we have too is the alternative to changing the transparency, allowing us to view the two maps side by side, and obviously the same area and zoom level on each side, and also change to view different dates of mapping over time. So we don't just have the ability to compare to the present day, but also to compare different dates, which is something that's become steadily more important with the more layers that we've got at the same place over time. This is a great way, I would say, of wasting hours. And that really completes a little fly-through. There's more to our website than that, but it gives a good flavor of it. And what I'd like to do now is, just to mention too, something that I often forget. We try to give more publicity to new things going online. A lot of our homepage look relatively similar over time, to flag up recent additions. And if you come to our website now and again, then our recent additions page is given a bit more prominence with new things that we put online. This may look a bit formidable at first, but it's my attempt to try and conceptualize the different components. And at the top, we've got Joe Blogs, who wants to find his mapping, and the various viewers that we have are Find by Place viewer, we've just seen, the Open Layers viewer for non-georeferenced images, our Explore viewer, and also web services. And each of those pulls various components, so things like shapefiles, metadata, different types of derivative images. And this is closer to the physical maps themselves. And what I'm going to do is step through these different stages, imagining we've got a paper map, and this is the way that we're putting it online. We use a mixture of open source and proprietary software. In terms of open source software, we use the OSGeo suite. We use QGIS, particularly for a fast, semi-automatic way of cropping and georeferencing images. GeoServer for delivering shapefiles. Open Layers as a viewer and IP image server. MapTiler does come in a free and open source version, but the tiling large mosaics of lots of images together. We use a proprietary version of MapTiler of our geographic imager, very useful for cropping georeferenced images inside Photoshop, especially where we need to crop boundaries that are not strictly rectangular, and SQL Server as well. So we start off with a database record, and the key thing for us is to generate a unique image ID with our database, everything that gets scanned. We start with the record. As soon as things get scanned, they get given a unique ID, and that's carried through into all the derivative images as we put things online. Things get scanned, sometimes with an overhead camera, although more usually for a lot of our flat sheet maps with various types of sheet feed scanner. We then have a stage involving creating bounding boxes with the metadata, taking the metadata into R and either automatically or manually creating the various bounding boxes. These then go into GeoServer. GeoServer we use very much for delivering the shapefile information online. And GeoServer, I found myself an extremely easy, very nice working environment, very easy to style and very fast too. So we can style, can't perhaps see with my image, but style the way that the shapefile is to appear. And then we can view it inside GeoServer and use GeoWebCache to create a set of different automatic images of the layer at different zoom levels for rapid display. That therefore creates something a little like this as a bounding box in our Find by Place viewer, and the records that come from GeoServer attached with it. Over time we've moved from images of sheets as a graphic index to the more dynamic polygons, and that's also allowed us to export the polygons as extents onto other portals that use polygons as the main way of retrieving them, particularly Scotland's Places, a collaborative project hosted by the Royal Commission, and also Old Maps Online, which you may know is the world's largest portal to freely available historic maps. So this is just another way of finding our maps inside those applications. The metadata we store within SQL Server, and this just provides a way of delivering the data for particular maps independently of the overall wrapper and the images themselves. When we zoom in and out of the map, we're viewing at the very top of the screen the image number that I mentioned in association with each map. And if people want to order things like printouts and images and copies and so on, when they click the order this map, it pulls information from another SQL Server table that allows us to specify what the sizes, types of copies that are available associated with it, and log it to a particular order and deliver it to people. In terms of the image side, the original images we store in-house always as TIFF, RGB 24-bit images. But for making things available online, we process those, first of all, using Photoshop batches to create families of JPEG images that show different sizes. And we also use software called Kakadu. You may know it's an Australian company that do very good JPEG 2000 compression. They have a number of freely available binaries that we use, and we also obtain a license from them that allows us to display the JPEG 2000 images online. In terms of georeferencing, we use a number of different methods, and it's difficult to encapsulate very simply, but the majority of our Ordnance Survey series maps we have the bounding boxes for, and so we use a semi-automatic process within QGIS that allows us to capture the four corners of a particular map, extract away the non-map content, and then link by a link from the image ID through to the correct shapefile polygon, the extent of the sheet to its real-world location. And I should say this is a very cheap and cheerful way of georeferencing. It's a way of hammering through tens of thousands of images. And as I'm sure you all know, georeferencing is always improvable. There's an element to it, I think, that is always perhaps more of an art than a science. So we hope that in the future we'll be able to perhaps find cleverer ways of fast georeferencing. It works okay for most people being able to visualize where they are. It all depends on what you're using the maps for as to whether it's fit for purpose. This is an image just to illustrate the way MapTiler works in processing through GeoTIFFs in line with the Google OpenStreetMap thing way of tiling the world. So every particular 2x6 by 2x6 tile has a specific address to present itself as a layer, and therefore appear online in what can seem quite an interactive and fast viewer, although displaying images that are often even up to a terabyte in size as sets of GeoTIFFs. Our original viewers, our Find viewer and our Explore viewer, we were very grateful to Peter Friedel, who you may know works for Flocken Technologies, the main company who make MapTiler, and we've also collaborated with them on various other fronts. They designed our original viewers that were in OpenLayers 2 about 4 years ago, and we released the code in collaboration with Peter last year on GitHub in case others may find them useful, elements of them useful inside other applications. And our main work in the last few years has been building on those original viewers. The original viewers out of the box look very simple, but effectively along the same lines. This was the Find by Place viewer, the Explore Georeference Maps viewer, and you'll note in passing with the OpenLayers 2 version, we're very much on a Google background. With our move to OpenLayers 3, we had to ditch that as well as the use of the Google Gazetteer as well, with I think some complaints, I should say, from our user community who find the Google satellite imagery better than other sources for many parts of the UK. But the OpenLayers 3 environment allowed significant advantages in terms of providing printouts of measurement tools, of being able to rotate the image and other things that are in store as well. Our main role, as we see it, is very much as a library trying to make available our hard copy map content to the community. And I guess that's why a lot of our viewers are essentially about trying to provide access to stuff so people can see images. And our hope is that other people are able to use things like web services to build much fancier applications and do things with our mapping that we don't have the time or the expertise, I should say, to do. And one of the ways that we try to do that is through our original Historical Maps API, which is a collaborative project with Flocken Technologies. It used our mapping, and it used Flocken's technology with MapTiler and Tile Server, which was a way of distributing tile sets over a number of servers worldwide to try and have a speedy way of delivering an historic map layer. The layer in this case was a 1920s to 1940s layer of the UK. It just went to the 1 inch to the mile scale. That's about 1 to 63,000. So not very detailed, but allow people to incorporate this inside other websites. it's been a very, very popular application, we're pleased to say, very widely used. And there's been a lot of interest from people in wanting to use other layers as well. We've been able to supply that, particularly through supplying our tile map services, effectively the map tile created layers that are on servers within NLS. The projects like Bruce Gittings' Gazetteer for Scotland allows you to bring in all of the NLS layers into his website, or a range of other portals and viewers around Great Britain. This is the Dorset Explorer that allows you to view modern mapping, a range of other content from Dorset, but also bring in historic maps from NLS as well. In the last week, so hot off the press, we've launched what we called our subscription API. And I have to say, this is with some reservations on my part. My objective in life would be to give everything away for free if we can. But unfortunately, funding constraints and our difficulty of being able to fund Tile Server and the technology around it has meant that we've released a set of more detailed layers by subscription. We're keeping the historic Maps API for free, but these layers are much more detailed. We can go, for example, to 6" to the mile, as you'll see here on this side. We've got a layer of 1 to 25,000 mapping, if you like, the first version of Ordnance Survey's Pathfinder maps, what's become Explorer, Outdoor Leisure, and an even more detailed layer at 1 to 1056 of London from the 1890s. Subscriptions are being priced at £200 per annum for the detailed 6" layer, or £100 per annum for the less detailed layers on the right-hand side. And I should say this is pitched very much towards intensive website users, so people who are often using thousands of individual tile requests every day for us, which we don't have the ability to sustain from a single set of tiles on our own server. This provides distribution, scalability, and a more robust way of delivering just a small number of layers. But, and it's an important but, we're continuing to make available all the other layers. That's over 600 layers of other mapping from our servers now. And you'll see a little more of that later on through the mesh project that Eric Rosso will be talking about. I mentioned as well our keenness to collaborate with other bodies. We're always keen to collaborate where other bodies can bring expertise, technology, and infrastructure for delivering things. This is Edina's Digimap for Schools application, which is a very nice way of delivering mapping inside the classroom. It's been delivering modern mapping for a long time, and from a couple of years ago, we incorporated a layer of historical mapping, which allows you to slide a slide you'll see at the top right-hand side, and if you press the right button on my computer, it slides it to the left-hand side and allows you to visualize the same area in the 1890s, and hopefully we'll have another layer in the 1950s to add to that quite soon. I mentioned, as the slide from before, we have a page on the OSM site which gives the tile map service addresses of all of our layers that are available within DOSM and other editors as well. I'll say no more about Mesh. You'll get a full install of that this afternoon, but we're very keen to collaborate in the way of building effectively an open historical map. There's been various discussions and moves towards this over the last few years, and I know Tim Waters is speaking as well tomorrow about this on another front. We take no credit at all for any of the real clever work behind this, but we're very keen to encourage it, recognizing that being able to vectorize historical features and tag them in an OSM-like way has a huge potential in the future. So yes, in terms of the future, where are we going? Well, hopefully we'll have a lot more scanning and georeferencing. In the last 2 years, we've almost doubled the number of maps that we've got online. And we've got a very active project at the moment, scanning and georeferencing historical 25-inch to the mile maps of England and Wales. Hopefully more sharing of code and other people's code as well, more collaborative applications, delivering web services in other ways, not just through subscription-based systems, but hopefully in freely available ways as well, and encouraging more vectorization. That's really me, and just to say, for those of you who signed up for the tour this afternoon of the map library, this is what to look out for. If you see a big white thing in the distance with lots of scaffolding, then you're heading in the right direction. It's, for those of you who don't know, about 10 minutes walk south of here, just straight along the Clue Street, so going in that direction from here, go straight along Causeway side. And if you go past Tesco, you've gone too far. There's slightly before Tesco on the left-hand side, just opposite Idina, if you know where that is. And just to say, although I personally am extremely happy and keen to welcome you to NLS, the powers that be in NLS have various protocols and procedures, and so in order to forewarn you, we're not allowed to bring bags and coats or pens into the physical reading room where our maps are, and so we'll need to disarm you by the door. You've got to bring all of those things with you, but we'll just leave them in the foyer area. And what I hope to do is show you as much of our mapping, selected a range of interesting things I hope to show you. And please do come along. You don't need to come along in one big group. Any time from 3:45, you have to leave things in the foyer. If you arrive early, wait around in the foyer. I don't know if there's any other instructions necessary about that. Because I won't be leading the group. I'll need to get there in advance to set everything out.
Right, we'll set someone who knows where they're going and to lead the group up to you. We might try and just squeeze in some sort of group photo at some point, but I haven't quite decided on that. But we'll give you an update at quarter to 4 before we set up exactly how we're going to do it. But yeah, that sounds good. Thanks.
Good. Okay. Thanks very much.
We've got a few minutes of questions for Chris. Anyone else? No? Just one.
When you were switching from open layers 2 to 3, you said you had to give up on Google.
I don't know if I'm right on that. I think that's not right, because I know it's possible to bring a Google layer as a background into Open Layers 3. But the problem really is integrating that example with all the other layers. And effectively, the Open Layers community have said that they are not able to support the use of Google layers within Open Layers 3 in the way that they used to. It involves a lot more active work on their part to keep up with Google's regular changes of code. And there were issues too in Google's terms and conditions, which have also influenced us. And effectively, in displaying a Google Map layer, the terms and conditions say that you shouldn't be able to obliterate it with a non-Google layer, which is effectively exactly what we do with our historic maps. And so I may not be right, and I'd be interested to be corrected, but as far as we were aware, we weren't able to use Google layers in a standard way within Open Layers 3. Open Layers 2 they all work fine.
So a mix of technological and legal reasons then.
Yes, I think Google could easily play ball with the Open Layers community and make their layers available. My understanding is that they're keener for people to use the Google layer within Google Maps API application rather than in an open source Open Layers application where you can mix it in with everything else. You know, I don't think I've seen that clearly articulated, but that certainly seems the case to me, that Google are quite keen on keeping the Google layers in a more constrained way within the Google Maps.
Is there any volunteer effort to help digitize your offline content?
Any volunteer effort?
Yeah, in terms of actually moving paper to machines.
Yeah. Well, we've had mixtures of collaborative projects involving crowdsourcing or communities of people. I didn't show it now because it's not really our technology, but there's a program we've got on our website called Georeferencer, which is actually created by Cochrane Technologies as well, which allows crowdsourcing of georeferencing through quite an attractive and interesting and well-designed interface. And the idea is to kind of engage with people anywhere around the world in georeferencing maps. And I think there's a great potential in that. And we've had some mixed success with that. But there are, I think, various projects that we've had involving volunteer labour. But I would say it's not been a cracking success. I think maybe we've not had the infrastructure or model. I think that the amount of work that we had to do, which I won't say is kind of mind-numbing drudgery, but there's elements of a lot of very hard work to scanning georeferencing things, which would mean that I think that it limits the appeal. And I think we don't really offer the promise of people, say, working for 3 months in an unpaid capacity with us to eventually get a job. They would just be, working in an unpaid capacity. So, yeah, I think we've not really, exploited that. But we're certainly keen to do more of that in the future.
I know somebody works at the World Commission, just down the road from you, who apparently set up quickly places full of these retired people who get in the way, who apparently are doing scanning or doing something with their area.
Well, you're right. I spoke here from the Royal Commission, and I was certainly vouch for that. There's a lot of good work I've seen these people do, and there's clearly, ways of doing it. Yeah, we could learn from that.
Well, it's lunchtime now, so lunch will be served out at the foyer there. If there's any gluten-free people, it's all gluten-free as well, so you don't have to worry. And it's vegetarian options. So we'll come back here at 2, please. That'd be great. So enjoy.
Oh, good stuff. You doing your talk tomorrow? I'm going to miss it. Sadly. Away. My big boys, bigger boys. 4th birthday, so we're doing a party for us. I can't wait to do tomorrow. So